How is everyone doing today? My name's Chris. Welcome back to Bourbon Sane. Today we've got a very fun episode. We're going to be talking about my bourbon and whiskey pickups in August of 2025. So depending on when this video comes out, this might be the end of August or maybe even early September. But August was a very busy and expensive month for me in bourbon. Me here, local in Michigan where I'm located, when store picks drop, they tend to drop just everywhere all at once. And they're not spaced out. They drop in bunches. So it's very hard for me to say no because I'm a very impulsive person and I love collecting and drinking bourbon. So I thought this would be a fun video though to just go over the things I've picked up, and I want to hear if it's something you guys seek out too or not, and if it's something you'd want to find and drink, or would you pass on it. So before we go any further, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can see more of this content. Let me know in the comments right now, what is the one bourbon you pick up every time you go to the store? Every time you go to get bourbon, you always get this bottle, or it's one that's on your radar. Let's start with our first pickup. This was in the beginning of the month. We had a store pick drop, and this is an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I love these Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. If you've watched some of my other videos, I talked about my top store picks, and this was one of them I pick up every time. This specific barrel is an 11-year and 125.7 proof. So good stuff. The old Elijah Craigs used to be 12 years, all of them. The yearly releases at least. Not the case any longer, but this is pretty close. We're at 11 years, and the proof is very respectable on this. So I was excited to try this. This is a pick actually from Meyer, and honestly, most of my picks today came from Meyer. That's where a majority of these drops happened. So hard for me to say no to an Elijah Craig pick, though. Our second pickup of the month came just about a week later, and that was a Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye. This actually is not a store-proof pick, but right at about $65, and I actually had just finished my Single Barrel Barrel-Proof Rye, so I wanted to get another bottle. Weirdly or oddly enough, I'm not seeing the Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof anymore. Not like it used to be, at least. It used to be I could walk into any store anytime and pick them up. I'm not seeing the Barrel Proof bourbon. The ryes are all over now here, but the bourbons themselves aren't. Has anyone else noticed that, or is it just me and I need to just keep looking a little harder? But I love these Barrel Proof ryes. Proof is always crazy good. This is a 130 plus, I think. Yeah, 65.15, so 130.3 proof. And the flavor profile that comes through on these is always wonderful. If I want something that's super hot, especially with that rye kick, and of course it's high rye, or it's rye, so you can use it in a cocktail if you want to. A little hard to justify sometimes at that price point, but for the proof you're getting and the flavors that come through on these Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof ryes, it's always a pickup. Our next pickup was another Meyer store pick, and honestly, they had 4 barrels of these drop at once. 4 barrels. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to get 4 barrels. So I got 2. I picked 2, and these are the 2 I went with was mostly based on recipe. I got a OESK that is 10 years, 2 months old, and the other one is actually about the same age. It's an OBSO though, and it's 10 years, 5 months. I love Four Roses. I really do. And these single barrel proofs are always really good. Like, usually really good, but these OESO picks, they don't come by very often at all. So when I see those pop up, I do usually grab one just to kind of see how it compares to some of those other flavor profiles. If you haven't ever, I don't know anything about Four Roses or the recipes, mash bills, that kind of stuff, I made a video where I got to try all 10 Four Roses recipes side by side. This was a few years back now, with the Bourbon Junkies actually. So if you want to see that, that was a great experience. And in that, I talk about Four Roses and the 10 different recipes you can get. So you'll be able to see all the different flavors, notes that come through. Really, really cool, but these are now $100 each in Michigan, so I couldn't buy all 4. You know what I mean? This channel is making no money. I can't afford to do that, but I just do this for fun, and I love drinking the bourbon. So, but I got 2 of the 4 picks, and I can't go wrong with that. Oh man, we're only about halfway through this so far. I got a lot in August, but next is going to be another Jack Daniel's product, the Jack Daniel's Heritage Barrel. I did put a review out of this already, and this is really, really good. This is supposed to be like a shelfie now. You know, it's not supposed to be like a limited release any longer like it was back in 2018, 2019. This is supposed to be available for about that $65 price point. So we're going to see if that holds true. I'm seeing it drop more in Michigan here. I probably could have got another bottle or 2 if I wanted to. I didn't, because if it is truly going to be available, I don't want to be overpaying for it. But it's really good. That toasted marshmallow, 7-year age on it, and actually it's a full proof bourbon. So they put this whiskey into the barrel at 100 proof, and then they actually, at the end, they take it out and they'll put it back to 100 proof. So it's a foolproof bourbon, even if they have to water it down a little bit. But cool thing about this is it's similar to those Coy Hill picks you'll sometimes find, or the Coy Hill label. Difference being those are barrel proof, of course, and they can get over 70%. But it is aged at the very top of the rickhouse, so they're aged Coy Hill style. I'll say the Coy Hill, the high areas of the rickhouse, which does increase circulation, increase wood penetration, the giggity. So it's good though, very, very good, and you can't go wrong with this bottle. If you haven't had it yet, I'd say pick it up. Coming up next is another trifecta of store picks. Yeah, I know, trifecta, I said, and it's true. Russell's Reserve. This was on my list of bourbons I never pass up, store picks I never pass up, and I wasn't lying to you. Like, I don't. These are 3 picks, also from Meyer, but these are Camp Nelson picks. So all different warehouses are Camp Nelson numbers too. So I've got a CNA, which are honestly some of my favorite Camp Nelson picks I've had are the CNAs. They are all 8 years. All these barrels are 8 years. CNF is the second barrel I got, and then the last being a CNE, which CNE is another Camp Nelson type that I do really enjoy. I don't know if I've ever had a CNF before. I'll have to go back and look through some of my videos and stuff, but the A and the E I'm very excited about, and then of course trying the F side by side with it too. I'm pumped for that. So, Russell's picks, is there anything better? I mean, let me know. Are you someone who also picks this up? This was about $50 to $60, I think. About $60 probably for this. But I'll still buy picks of Russell's all day at that price. All right, my final pickup of the month, and actually I put a written review out of this, not a video review yet at least. The Woodinville 9-year. This, as of filming, just dropped yesterday at their harvest release. And very fortunate I had this bottle sent to me, so full disclosure, I'm just letting you know that. But this is actually a very, very good bottle. This nose is probably the best nose I've had all year on any bourbon. If you don't know anything about Woodinville, they do some very cool stuff as far as their staves go with their barrels they use. So they actually season their staves outside for either 18 months or 24 months. This 9-year release is a 24-month season stave, meaning they just leave it out and expose it to the weather. So it gets rained on, snowed on, super hot, super cold, all that good stuff. And it adds definitely a different flavor profile to the whiskey. There's a couple other bourbon companies out there that do that same type of thing. But I think the flavors that do come through on this Woodinville, it is truly something special. So much creaminess, like on that nose, it's such a good creamy sweet oak. It reminds me honestly of some older weeded products, like I don't want to say Pappy's, but that type of flavor profile. What's that really good creamy oak that comes through. The palate is a little bit different, not in a bad way though. Not in a bad way. It's just not what you expect when you get that creaminess on the nose. Woodinville always gives me what I describe as like a sawdusty note, which a lot of times I'll attribute to young whiskey. Not the case here at all. It's just a grain note that's specific to their flavor profile that I get, and it probably has to do with the way they season those staves. But if there is this is the best Woodinville I've ever tasted, this 9-year is. Like, no question. So they had the 8 out last year, 9 this year, and they are planning a 10-year next year, so I really hope I can get my hands on a 10-year the following year. But have any of you ever had this Woodinville, and if so, how is it? All right, well, those are my main interesting pickups at least. I have a couple others that I bought just for the channel or some bottom shelf stuff that doesn't really matter, stuff you can find everywhere. But those are my interesting store pick, my good bottles, things like that, and stuff I do seek out. Let me know if you guys like this type of video. Do you want to see this monthly? You know, would you want to see what I get monthly, even if it's just 1 or 2 bottles? Because I'm going to run out of money soon if I go with that many again. If you haven't already, please do like, subscribe to the channel. It does help a lot and helps support just what I'm doing here. You know, it helps get my name out there and helps me grow. So if you do want to see some of the written content I was discussing earlier too, check out my website, bourbonsane.com. I put reviews like the Woodinville on there and a bunch of other things too. You know, we did our 1792 cognac and there's a bunch of informational content too that you'll hopefully like and find interesting. So check that out. I appreciate you watching this video today. Thank you so much for being here. Stay insane.